Allow me to juxtapose this discussion with a story that was on the front page of the New York Times today about 4 New Jersey legislators who had pressured the Food and Drug Administration to change a law, to change a rule about a product which was manufactured by a company in New Jersey just months after all 4 legislators had received significant campaign contributions from the company. The FDA ultimately caved in, went against its own scientists and changed the rule. Allow me to be cynical for a second. It seems that the rule is staff members of elected officials accept money from people in return for favors. That's illegal. If elected officials accept bribes or money from people in return for favors, that's called campaign contributions, and it is legal. Unfortunately,
well, you just described our political system. That's why there have to be watchdogs and freedom of information and full disclosure of campaign contributions and who gets what, who does what to whom, because that's our system.
Well, and there is a difference, an elemental difference that Tom alluded to, which is that one is open and documented, and everyone knows who makes the campaign contributions, and you can trace those lines of influence and make of them what you will. Whereas when someone slips someone an envelope, we don't get to know about that until there's the FBI steps in and there's an arrest.
And as Tom pointed out, the bottom line at this point is whether or not Councilmember Jim Graham himself was involved at all. He says absolutely not. He knew nothing about it. We'll see how that evolves.
Now, I do think that the legislation, perhaps moving to medallions and legislations, that anything that has to do with taxi cabs, you can say is on permanent, not permanent, but for a hold for now.
But if you are conspiratorially minded, you might think back to the endless debate we had about zones versus meters and the whole structure of the D.C. taxi system. And the scenario that I pointed out when I was campaigning against moving to the meter system is that when you eliminate the zones, you make it much easier for the taxi cab owners, the fleet owners, to gain control over the cab drivers, to know how much money is coming in. That makes this a much more attractive place for big fleets rather than individually owned cabs, and those big companies then want to limit the number of taxis on the road. And so everything that the cab drivers who opposed the meters said was going to happen after this change is now happening. We're moving toward the medallion system, which will mean fewer taxis and worse service for people.
The big companies with the money will buy those medallions and then parcel them out to cab drivers. They sell them insurance. They sell them everything. They control them. It's like a fleet of, well, I'll leave it at that. They control everything they do.